A tender is another word for a bid. In the case of Main Street Cinema, there are 3 tenders or 3 bids for their business. Let's take a look. Main Street Cinema has invited 3 firms to bid on its daily janitorial services contract and then scored these tenders, another word for a bid, on quality, reliability, risk, and price, 100-point scale. The scores are listed here. So here's the 3 companies that are each placing a bid, and then here's how they scored. Now, what is asked? If Main Street Cinema were to use the lowest price to award the contract, who would receive it? Now, we don't actually have the price that was bid in the case of, for instance, Dosh Commercial Services, Fulton Maintenance, or Steady Bright Contract Cleaning. The problem does not supply the actual amount that they bid. It does say, though, that they were scored on price and on a 100-point scale. So in order to answer that question, we go, well, just who got the most favorable score? We have to remember that they are bidding based on price, but it's a 100-point scale, so the most favorable score would be the highest one. Okay, the highest one. Well, in that case, Dawson. Dawson has the most favorable score for price, therefore Dawson must have placed the lowest bid. All right, now next question. If Main Street Cinema were to use linear averaging to then choose a supplier for its janitorial service contract, who would it choose if it felt that quality, reliability, risk, and price were all equally important in this choice? Now we have to remember there are 3 dimensions here that we are, for Main Street Cinema, essentially evaluating these other firms that are bidding. If they're equally important, that means that in linear averaging, we would attach the same weight to quality, reliability, risk, and price, which means that in terms of arithmetic, the way to determine who would come out on top, so to speak, is to simply average the 3 scores. Average the 3 scores in each case. Because, create another little column. Simple average score here. Let's see, Dawson Commercial Cleaning Services received a 70 for quality, a 60 for reliability, risk, but a 100 for price. That averages to 76.7. Okay, that would be their linear averaging score if in fact we felt that those 3 attributes, quality, reliability, risk, and price, were all equally important. As opposed to, now wait a minute, Fulton Maintenance and Facility Services, 100 and 170, that averages to 90, versus Steady Bright, 70, 90, and 80, that averages to 80. The question is, who would they choose if they felt these were equally important? Meaning, who has the most attractive score with linear averaging? Yes, that would be Fulton. Okay, so now, instead of Dawson, that was the answer to part A, now we're choosing Fulton Maintenance Service. Okay. Next question. Assume that quality and reliability, risk are equally important. Okay, to Main Street Cinema. However, the issue of price is twice as important to Main Street Cinema than either quality or reliability risk. What score would Dawson Commercial Cleaning Services earn under this weighting scheme? All right, so we're asked for the score that Dawson would earn. Under this weighting scheme, in order to determine what score Dawson would earn, we first have to determine what the weights must be. Now, last time, the question before, we said, everything's equally important, so the weights were the same. By averaging together the scores, we were essentially giving each one of those attributes or scores a weight of 1/3. I mean, we were just dividing it up evenly. Now we're told that price is twice as important. So here's a little tip. Let's see, when you're in a situation like this where you're trying to figure out the weights first list out the factors or attributes. Quality, reliability, risk. I'm just going to write R/R, but that's for reliability and risk, versus price. Okay, so I have a list of the factors that are being considered. Now, I ask myself, okay, in this list, in the new situation, which are the least important factors? Well, we were told that quality and reliability, risk are considered equally important to each other. That means they'll get the same weight. Okay, fine. But who's the least important? Oh, but price is twice as important as these other two, meaning that, okay, price would be the most important, and both of them, they're the least important. Temporarily give them a weight of 1. Okay, because we've sorted through this list and decided that they're at the bottom, they're the least important. Now, price. Price is how much more important? Price is twice as important. Okay, so if it's twice as important, I'd say 1 times 2 is 2. I'm temporarily giving price a weight of 2. Oh, right. Now what? Well, we want to turn this into a weighting scheme. We sort of have a weighting scheme in the price, that value is twice as big as any of the other two, and the other two, the value is equal. That's pretty good, but we want this all to be basically out of 1. That's what, linear averaging needs. So what do you do next? Add all these temporary numbers. Well, they add up to 4. Okay, fine. Divide each one of them by 4. There's the weights that we should now use in the linear averaging scheme for Main Street Cinema. If in fact price is twice as important as those other two things, and they're both equally important, then quality should have a weight of 1/4 or 0.25. Reliability, risk should have a weight of 0.25, and price should have a weight of 0.5. That's twice as important as the weight that's given to either of the other two factors. Oh, okay. Now wait a minute. We're not done, because the question actually asked what score would Dawson get under these conditions. We just now have to use this to calculate score. So looking back on the data, Dawson received a 70. Let me make a little note to myself. I'm working on Dawson over here. Received a 70 for quality. So it would be 0.25 or 1/4 times 70 plus 0.25, 1/4 in essence. For reliability risk, Dawson got a 60 for reliability risk. And then 1/2 or 0.5 for price. Dawson's the one that got the perfect 100% for price. So I would want to say 0.25 or 1/4 times 70 plus 0.25 times 60 plus 0.5, 1/2 times 100. Roll that all together into one score. I did that in my notes, and I got 82.5. 82.5, that's the answer. That is the score that Dawson Commercial Cleaning Services would get under this new scheme, where price is twice as important. Great. Now, last question. Assuming that the weighting scheme described in Part B, which janitorial supplier does linear averaging suggest? Okay. Let's see. If we wanted to keep this up, we would need to compare Dawson to Fulton and Dawson to Steady Bright. But basically, I just have to repeat these calculations that I did up here for Dawson. Let's see, for Fulton, they get 0.25 times, what did Fulton get as a score for quality? Ooh, 100. Plus 0.25 times 100 plus 0.5 times 70, the weight now, multiplied by the score. So for Fulton, I got, 85. Now that's just the score for Fulton. Steady Bright, 0.25 times, let's see, Steady Bright got a 70 for quality, plus 0.25 times 90. They got 90 for reliability risk, plus 0.5 times 80 is what they got for price. I get that that all adds up to 80. We got 82.5 for Dawson. We would pick the one with the most favorable score, which is to say the one with the highest score. So reviewing our work so far, the highest score looks like it belongs to Fulton. They would choose Fulton Maintenance and Facilities Service for their daily janitorial cleaning contract.